Everyone, and welcome back to yet another round of Mom Q&A with Mamas Uncut, where you send in your anonymous questions about parenting, raising children, motherhood, and we give you the best advice possible. And like we said, your questions always remain anonymous. And I'm back with Lisa and Mindy. How are you guys?
Hi, everyone.
You guys ready to answer some more questions?
Yep.
All right, let's get to it. Do I have the right to be upset? My significant other and I have been together for about 7 years. Engaged for over 2 because of COVID made us reschedule our wedding twice, and now we just eloped. We have 1 child together who is 3. We typically have a great relationship with good communication, but for the last few months, our communication has been lacking. We are so busy chasing around our child and striving to be the best parents we can be and doing great at it, but it has taken a lot away from our time. Throw new jobs and hours in there as well. My son was watching videos on an old phone of my fiance's, and I did the one thing I said I would never do. I looked at the messages. I always said I would never do this because if I did it, then trust was an issue. Anyway, I did it, and I found old messages between him and a woman, we'll call her Laura, from August. Apparently, they met while my significant other was out with our son playing. She gave him her number to set up a play date, which is fine with me as I welcome play dates. The thing is, he never told me about this. He met with her and her daughter and brought my son 2 or 3 different times. Also, he initiated the first contact by texting her at 9:30 at night the day they met, while he was home with me. The day after their last meetup, my son, significant other, and I went to the park, as it is our go-to place and close to home. She was there, and I met her. Neither one of them told me that they had met prior or knew each other. Apparently, during this interaction, while I was chasing my son and her daughter around, my significant other and her had a convo, and she asked if we were together. Later that night, she texted him saying that she hoped she wasn't blunt by asking, but that my husband was a total babe. And he replied that he was sorry if he misled her, but isn't good at navigating in those situations. They continued to text for a day or 2. Nothing child related, but he sent pics of his wine and my kid's car toy that we built. I sat on it for a few days to ensure how I felt and wanted to make sure I wasn't making a big deal of anything. I confronted my husband and he lied to me and said that it was 1 play date and once she showed interest. And when she did, they stopped talking. I then got really hurt and told him that I knew that wasn't true because I read the messages. Since then, we have barely spoke, aside from the normal parenting talk, for 4 days. He said he did nothing wrong and I was the one who invaded his privacy. I'm at a loss. If I have the right to be angry, and if so, what to say to him to make him see my view.
Just take a deep breath.
Yeah. Okay. This isn't a, from my perspective, a right or wrong issue. It is a symptom of a larger problem. And that larger problem needs to be addressed. I think she hit the nail on the head early on in the question where she's saying, hey, they're not connecting. And him lying is not okay. Her checking up on him is not okay. Like everybody violated the trust here, but it's under the underlying cause or the underlying illness, right? Because those are just symptoms. The underlying illness is very much they haven't connected and they're drifting apart. And that is so easy to do when you've got a kid and you've got 2 working parents in the house. God knows that happened to me. And, what do you do to fix that? And, I hope that they can just put the transgressions aside, chalk it up to the fact that they haven't been doing the work they needed to do on their relationship to connect and figure out a way forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, you really nailed it, Lisa. I think that what she said early in the question, I knew we were in for something because I am right there in that situation. It's difficult to prioritize and make time outside of everything that's pulling you in different directions with kids and work and all of that. But you've got to prioritize spending time with your spouse as well. And for us, what that looks like in our family, it means kids go to bed at a pretty early hour. So my husband and I are able to spend time together. So, but that looks different for everybody. Some people, they schedule date nights. They have their family time and they make sure the kids are distracted, whatever it is. We had a lot of at-home date nights during the pandemic where we just played board games. Wasn't the most exciting thing, but we were trying to spend time together, right? Because if you're not doing that, then little things like this can pop up. So I'm not little. She does have a right to be upset, right? I never want to minimize anyone's feelings, but yeah, so does he, because there's obviously a breach of trust on both sides. I think what she needs to do is approach her husband and say, listen, I'm not feeling comfortable where we are in our relationship right now. I made a mistake looking for something and looking for problems. I accept what you've told me about this. But what I really want to focus on is us reconnecting and making an effort and a commitment to spend time and connect with each other again. I think that's what she needs to say to him. And I mean, it's kind of, whether or not he did go more than once, whether or not he stopped messaging her, it doesn't seem like there's actually evidence of anything really happening, right?
Yeah.
So if there was actual evidence of infidelity or something like that, it seems like it's kind of a relationship that went into a gray area, right? Which isn't a safe place to be, but it's a place where you can still come back from. I don't want to see her get overly, pulling away from their relationship because of this. I just think it's approaching him in a humble way and saying, listen, I wasn't in the right either. I made a mistake. We need to work on this together.
Well, and it's clear, and she owns this in the question, that there is an exchange between the husband and this other woman saying, hey, I'm sorry if I misled you, but
yeah,
that's it, right? And that was, I think
that's pretty telling, right?
Very telling. Yeah.
Because that was a point where the husband could have chose to say, oh, things are on the rocks. Things aren't good with us.
Yeah.
That's telling that he actually did say, oh, I'm sorry that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're right.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. I think, yeah, obviously they both each have reasons to be mad, but instead of getting mad, just use this as a wake up call. Clearly, you guys need to reconnect in some way or some form. So that's what you should do, is sit down and have a mature conversation about it. And
as far as wake up calls go, because I like how you framed it.
Yeah.
This is about as constructive and innocuous a wake up call as you can get in a marriage, right?
Yep, I totally agree with that. It's a great time to pivot and go forward in a new direction.
Yeah.